Welcome to Medica Nova Wellness Studio. I'm Dr. Angelika Maria Koch with your educational videos about optimal health and the most innovative and holistic approach to your well-being. So here we are with part 2 of our headache series. The last video covered how you can heal your common headaches with natural protocols, followed by today's video, which is all about how you can heal your migraines with natural and effective therapeutic tools. Migraines can be truly life-depleting and often require a more in-depth treatment plan, hence this added video. Now remember, you can heal your migraines. I know it very well, I know the pain very well. I used to suffer from them badly in my early 20s, and I also know that you can heal them. So enjoy. Before we go on, just a quick announcement. I'm delighted to share with you that Medica Nova, my practice for integrated and educational medicine, is now offering 3 months health and wellness coaching plans next to the already existing health protocols. If you're interested in exploring certified comprehensive home study online courses in homeopathy, health and wellness coaching, integrated mental health, and so much more, have a look at my website, medicanova.net, at the online academy. I think you'll like it. To stay updated with my ongoing videos, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, share and like it with your friends and family, and don't forget to click that bell which notifies you every time I feature a new video. And lastly, if you're interested in a personal health consultation, either for yourself or your children, contact me at health@medicanova.net. I'm happy to help here. Now, although migraines are less common than the typical sort of tension headaches, they're affecting millions of people. Estimates show that about 35 to 40 million Americans have migraines or migraine symptoms on a regular basis. Often, a large proportion of middle-aged women are more affected, partly because of the hormonal changes. Estimates also say roughly about 10% of teenagers experience frequent migraines, especially during the time of the puberty, partly because of the hormonal changes again. Migraines are the 3rd most prevalent illness in the world, and now nearly 1 in 4 US households includes someone who has at least occasional migraines. It's quite a lot. So people with migraines often report using twice as the amount of medication and drugs on their visit, the doctors or ER, twice as much as those without migraines. Now, before I share with you the practical tips of how to heal your migraine, let's take a moment aside. Let's really look at the metaphysical meaning, what migraines are really about, and often what is the story behind the actual symptom. If I lean on Louise Hay, the author of You Can Heal Your Life, she spoke that the headaches often revolve around self-criticism, fear and invalidating the self. So I'm not good enough, or I'm not quite sure if I can meet these demands. Other authors, they speak of migraines in terms of feeling pressured by factors that seem out of control, or there's a conflict between oneself, what's right or what's wrong. So let's have a look a little bit about this, because I think this is a very interesting factor and maybe can resolve certain tension within yourself or give you more a direction how to heal your migraine attacks. So tension headaches in general, metaphorically speaking, mirror the opposing tension in your own life. A time when we become more out of touch with our intuition and the ability to reason clearly, so we are confused. our inner order is quickly spinning out of order, creating sort of a high level of nervousness and confusion, and which often can lead also to these impulsive reactions. Deb Shapiro in the Body Mind Workbook, she enlightens us that migraines are usually caused by a lack of oxygen reaching the brain. Yes, we know that, but this can also be seen as the life-giving energy, right, being withdrawn from the brain or the control center, as we do not have to maybe deal with the commands, but can maybe ignore even our reality and the demands made upon us. So it's a little bit of an escape as well. This is often caused by frustration of unfulfilled plans, an overload of information, and an inability to integrate it, leading also to repressed rage. There's also a sense of something that needs to be achieved or done that is being asked of us, and the fear or the resistance connected with being able to fulfill that demand. So what needs to be looked here is really what is behind the migraine attack, right? Maybe you're an introverted personality who doesn't want to appear in group situations. Maybe you feel incompetent to meet all these demands. Maybe there's a fear of failure or fear of success. Who knows? But it's very important that you take a moment aside and really question what is triggering, what is driving your neurological tension here. So a migraine is also a way to take time out and of getting extra love and attention. You see that often in teenagers. This is especially so with children who may be lacking in love or who are having the attention they need replaced with sweet food. Mind you, often sugar or excess sugar triggers migraines. Often we see also a lot of anxiety related with migraine attacks, partly because some people report dealing with fears of having attacks in the future, brings up a lot of worries and concern about, when I have the next attack, how will it affect my work schedule, the relationship to the family members, and so on. So, there's a reduced enjoyment in life and often just holding yourself together. Especially women are affected who also suffer from a lot of hormonal changes, menopause, pregnancy, they're really, really attacked by that. So what are migraine or headaches in the first place? Well, migraines are a type of intense headache, especially that are recurring or cause this throbbing pain. And it's often seen on one side of the head. Can be on both sides too, but mostly affects either the left or the right side of the head. Now, in contrast, tension or common headaches, which I mentioned in the last video, often causes steady pain, right? Or this tightness around the entire head, especially in the forehead and also in the back of the neck, the occipital area. Then the tension, the muscle really tighten up in the neck and causes tension headache. But today we understand that all types of headaches are caused by this high level of cellular inflammation within the body, changes in the neurotransmitters levels, especially serotonin. And now I here want to give a little tip that we often think serotonin is just produced in the brain. No. Most of the serotonin level is actually produced in your digestive system. So it's very, very important if you suffer from headache to really, really, take care of your digestive system first. So migraines tend to peak during someone's 30 years, become worse than during stressful times, transition periods of life I mentioned, menopause, but also can run in the family. So there's a huge genetic factor here. Let's have a look at the symptomatology. Migraines come in 4 stages, and the first stage is prodrome. So about a day or two before something starts to happen, you have some signs. So you maybe have some constipation. You definitely experience some mood changes, can be from depression, or you feel totally elated, right? Almost euphoric. I've seen food cravings, definitely. Often you feel maybe neck stiffness, the muscles tighten up. You also can have an increased thirst. And, funny enough, you have to pee more. Frequent urination is quite often indicated with that, or there's a frequent yawning going on. And then it goes into the second stage, which is called the aura. Now, not everyone experiences an aura stage, so I really want to make sure that you understand that. But it's a second stage where symptoms come from the nervous system, and they're usually visual disturbances, and but also can affect the entire sensory apparatus. So you can maybe get the sensation that someone is touching you. So we have the visual phenomena. So we have various shapes, flashes of light, spots of light, even vision loss. Pins and needles, in the arms and the legs, so the legs get a bit weak. There could be numbness in the face or one side of the face, or you feel like you have an inability to concentrate. You lose your speech, your speech gets weaker, maybe hear noises, and definitely you have sort of maybe jerking muscle movements. All of that can show you that, okay, we are really heading for an attack here. And then it comes. The third phase is really when the full symptoms come to the surface. It can be between 4 to, they say, 72 hours, or it can last longer. So you have this intense pounding pain on one side of the head or both sides of the head, but terrible throbbing pain, pulsating pain. It's not just a sort of a ongoing mild pain. No, it's a throbbing pain. It's pulsing. And you have a strong sensitivity to light, to sound. That's the time when people just don't want to talk to anybody. They want to lie in a dark room. Even smell of food or touch anything will make it worse. At that time, some people can have nausea, vomiting, they hang over the toilets, and that of course makes it worse because we have the pressure in the head. There can be huge irritability, dizziness, even shakiness of the body. And then we have the fourth stage after this is all over, which really is you're drained, you're washed out, you're done. You feel confused, you have maybe moodiness, you're dizzy, you definitely experience lots of weakness, and you just want to have a break. It's like you just went through hell. Now, migraines can appear periodically, such as once or twice a month or several days in a row. And really it depends on the constitution or the life circumstances of the person. And that's why I'm here and make this video, because I want you to learn about individualized medicine. And I will give you really individualized remedies which match your unique expression of your migraines, right? That's what this is about. Now, what are the causes? I mentioned usually it's abnormal neurological events, like related to changes in your blood flow, right? Nerve signaling and muscle functions. And they can be triggered by inflammation that affects the normal blood flow, I mentioned that, and the blood vessels, particularly reaching the brain. Nerve signals, changes in there, and the neurotransmitters. Again, a low level of serotonin, hormonal changes. Absolutely, pregnancy, menopause, irregularity with your periods, teenagers who are affected, lack of sleep, big time here. Also, of course, if you are taking lots of medication, there may be a contraindication here, which side effects. Possibility of genetic susceptibility, absolutely. Stress. Big time, 3 underlined, right? If you're overly anxious, if you worry a lot, if you're nervous, This whole stress level contributes to the expansion and the contraction of the blood vessels that reach your head, and therefore can contribute to migraine attacks. I would say sedentary life, sitting hours in front of the computer, straining the eyes, of course. And then we have the diet, the whole nutrition. If you have a low nutrient diet, migraines is one of them. If you have excess alcohol, if you have food allergies. Often you see it with people who have consumed aged cheese, right? And then get a migraine, or too much salty food, processed food. People who suffer from blood sugar levels, right? They're skipping meals, they're fasting, then comes the migraine. Needless to say, dehydration, right? You want to drink in a lot of water. Some are sensitive to weather changes, exposure to sun, too much sunlight, the bright light, as well as changes of the season. So all of that can trigger a migraine attack. Now, the over-counter medication are usually the non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs. Everything what's anti-nausea, right? Anti-anxiety, anti-depression, anti-seizures even. Anti. So how about we offer pro-healing protocol instead? So what are the natural and effective life changes? Anti-inflammatory diet is a big deal here, bring in a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. It's quench the inflammatory part of the body. Of course, fresh fruits, vegetables, anything which is high in magnesium, because magnesium works for spasms within the body, relaxes the muscles. Make sure you got a sort of restful sleep, right? Get into a sleep pattern. Get up at the same time, go to bed at the same time, have an exercise plan, right? Eating schedule, right? Don't just stuff the food, but sit down and masticate and chew it well. So really sort of give yourself time. And what can I say? Relieve stress, but that's easy said, right? But even here, in your fast-paced life, bring in a few minutes of your day where you just sit back, maybe practice a breathing exercise. Kundalini yoga is quite good here. Just a mindful practice, so the body has a little bit time just to, step away from this fast-paced frequency. Also would say reduce lots of light exposure, right? Of course, when you go outside, it's sunny, get some sunglasses. External application, often people with migraines like ice packs. Regular headaches, people like more heat packs, but you can here alternate also. Ice pack, heat pack. You maybe want to bring in some essential oil, lavender or frankincense is beautiful here. Put it on your temples, on the forehead and the back of the neck, or even smell a little bit, bring in this sort of calming frequency. But most of all, today I want to really home in on homeopathic remedies. They work very fast with migraines, but only work fast when you know how to match your individual symptom with the indicated remedy. It's a big thing here. And I think next to lifestyle changes, diet changes, I think you have a good protocol here. The reason is, as I mentioned, there's so many triggers which could sort of stimulate the migraine attacks. So we have to differentiate. We have to go into the details and say, okay, what is your trigger? Is it hormonal? Is it dietary? Which side of the head is affected, left or right, or what brings it on? And if you find then the specific sort of keynote in that, the key ingredients, you will have more success. As always in my presented videos, homeopathy offers nearly 4,000 remedies today, so I only will share with you the remedies which you can get hold of and purchase in your local health food store. So it's not too complicated, it's not too confusing. but I want you to learn a little bit about to really tune into your body and see what's your unique expression of your physical symptoms. Now, the magic of homeopathy is based again on the principle that your individual migraine symptoms match the indicated homeopathic remedy. So once this match is found, then lasting cure can occur. So in an acute attack, take one tablet, I would say every 2 to 3 hours for a few days, and as soon as improvement sets in, step back. Of course, always contact your healthcare practitioner as well as a backup, or contact me at health@medicanova.net. I'm happy to support you here. By the way, thank you so much for your comments. So many people, email me and say, hey, I've seen your video about stammering or eczema, and listen, I'm really embarrassed about it, but here you are. Can I ask you for help? And I did. I respond, and I'm very happy that people from literally all over the world. I mean, yesterday I got one from Pakistan. It's quite astounding, how many people really look into these health videos. And health is sort of a dubious subject, right? It's not entertaining in itself. And people really look at health videos only when they're really pushed against the wall and have a symptom or are in pain. So I really appreciate you, when you now subscribe to this video and are interested in helping yourself. So let's go back to the nitty-gritty. Well, the first remedy is belladonna, belladonna 30. And it's 30, the number is the potency, which you can get in your local health food store. It's usually 6 or 30. But in this case, I want you to get a 30. Belladonna is one of the best medicines here for migraine. And the keynote here is intense throbbing. Ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. That's the pain, pulsating headache. The person prescribed belladonna will also feel an extreme fullness in the head. Light seems to worsen, of course, the headache. Noise is unbearable. And in some cases, even cold air can trigger the migraine. Even you went to the barber and had a haircut, and you're a little bit sort of, your hair hasn't been hair dried or blow dried and it's wet. That can trigger or set up a migraine. Often heart pressure over the head will maybe relieve in some cases. Now, if you have more an excessive congestion in the head, not just the throbbing pain, and the head feels often very large, right, as if it would burst. In such migraine attacks, the remedy Glonoin is very helpful. And here it's almost like you see patients holding their heads because they feel like, my head is gonna explode any minute. The eyeballs seem protruded. There's extreme heaviness in the head as well. Now, a striking keynote here is that heat makes it worse. So people are exposed to extreme sunlight and heat. They walk maybe hours on the beach, enjoy it, and by the end of the day come back and have this massive headache. Migraine attack, Glonoin is the remedy here. I also want to say, bring in or think about the remedy Bryonia 30. Now here the headache begins often in the back of the head, sort of the occipital area. And the keynote here that any movement, even blinking with your eyelids, will make it worse. Right? It's the headache starts in the back of the head, often travels over the forehead into the eyes, and here we have this bursting or splitting nature of a headache. Again, the eyeballs or movement of the eyeballs is very painful. Worst slightest movement. These are the people who want to lie in a dark room. Don't talk to me. At that time, dizziness comes in, nausea comes in, and another keynote is they have a great thirst for sort of water. They really get the dry mouth, and they want during these migraines attacks a lot of water. I mentioned that often migraines are affecting one side of the head and not just the whole head. So if you're out there and suffer from a left-sided migraine attack, you want to think about the Remedies Spigalia 30. Really well indicated for that, especially the left temporal region around the temple of the forehead and the eyes. In most cases, the pain begins again in the back of the neck, sort of occipital area of the head, extends upwards and then settles in the left eye. Now the pain is violent, can be throbbing, pulsating in nature again. Again, there is often a sensation that there's a tight band around the head. Getting up from the chair, stooping, seems to worsen the headache. Again, severe pain behind the eyeballs, and the eye movements are really they just want to be still. Really makes it worse. Now, in contrast, if you have a right-sided headache, it's sanguinara canadensis or sanguinara 30. The pain starts from, again, the back of the head in the occiput, ascends and settles over the right eye. Lying down quietly in a dark room, of course, brings relief, and in some cases even sleep, so they sleep it out. Fasting, going without a meal, definitely could trigger these migraine headaches here. It's also medicine to prescribe when the headache starts in the morning, increases during the day, but sort of settles then or lasts till sunset. It's a great remedy to think about for women during menopause, often indicated with suddenly headaches or migraines. Now, we talked about that there are different stages, right? So we have the prodrome stage, we have the aura, we have the actual attack, and then we have the post sort of recovering stage. There's a remedy called iris vesicolor, like the plant iris. 30, again the potency. And here we have intense nausea, right? Vomiting, and there's a lot of acidity involved, right? So the person vomits acid, right? Sour, bitter stuff comes up. Bitter nature is observed. There's bitter belching with intense burning behind the sternum, so it could be like heartburn, and even burning in the throat is well marked. But this acidic stomach reflux leads to the migraines. And the headache can be also, a keynote is combined with diarrhea, which definitely signals the indication for this remedy, iris vesicolor. This medicine is also useful when there is a migraine, begins with a sort of a blur before the eyes. So this is the remedy which would come in when you have a little aura, right? I said not everybody suffers from an aura, but iris is a great remedy here. Having another situation, if you have a migraine which is caused by severe eye strain, or triggered by eye strain, the pain begins again in the back of the head, travels upwards and settle over the forehead or the eye. There can be blindness, right, of vision or other visual disturbances. And there is the pain predominantly on the right side. The eyeballs feel sore. Again, the headache and the eye troubles are relieved by the production of excess or more urine. So if you want to pee out, suddenly the headache is better. It's like a release. The body found an exit hole. There can be this feeling of a band or hood which is tightly sort of squeezed around the head, giving this sort of dragging sensation at the back of the head. There's definitely tiredness, weakness. You feel like, oh my God, you just don't want to even open your eyes. Could be also the second stage of a flu, right? Where you have muscle aches and you feel like everything is aching. There are suffering so much that they're unable to hold up their head at that point. See, so iris and gelsemium is a good remedy for these aura stages. Now, if you're somebody who likes the fast and furious life, who is a workaholic, who likes gourmet food, who likes by the end of the day kick and chill out with a few glasses of scotch or any alcohol, who suffers from indigestion, has a lot of flatulence, froths your heart out, burps a lot, maybe there's constipation. Needless to say, often piles and hemorrhoids are involved as well. If you're a person who lives the excess of life, particularly in diet, food and drinks, and this lifestyle aggravates your migraines, you think about Nux vomica. Nux vomica 30 is a good remedy here. Again, too much coffee, spicy food, alcoholic drinks, anything which sort of has to do with your nutrition and it's related to migraine attacks, I would say Nux vomica is the remedy. The person feels also the need to press the head during the migraine attacks against something hard for relief. Now, if you are somebody who suffers from anemia, and here I would address the teenagers out there, or who has migraine attacks especially during, before, can be after the menses as well, you want to think about Natrum muriaticum 30 is a wonderful remedy here. Again, they get triggered, these headaches attack. As I said, it can be before, during, or at the close of the menstrual cycle. It starts with the sunrise, continues during the day, and vanishes after sunset. Wonderful remedy. Here the sensation is more like little hammers, right? They're knocking in the brain. And often indicated for schoolgirls, right? They're anemic, they haven't drunk enough water. Definitely think about it. It's also indicated if people have this numbness or this tingling, which I mentioned before, either in the nose or the tongue or the lips before the migraine attack happens. So we talk about hormonal triggers, right? And here I want to bring in the remedy sepia. Sepia 30 is an excellent remedy for migraine attacks in women during menopause especially. In such cases, again, the terrible headaches accompanied with the hot flushes, with all the symptoms which go with menopause, right? Insomnia, skin rashes, and all of that. It's usually worse indoors, better outdoors. Definitely nausea, vomiting is part of it. Lying on the painful side of the head often affords a relief here then. And the top of the head maybe feels like almost cool to touch here. But in general, it's you feel irritable, edgy, especially before the period. Your sexual libido may be affected here as well. Anything which has to do with hormonal changes. And headache, I would definitely look into the remedy sepia 30. Now, if you have been exposed to a lot of stress lately, work stress, less sleep, you worked your butt off and you feel like you have a nervous exhaustion, think about Califos. Stress, tension, worry lead to migraine headaches. I mentioned that before, but such migraine headaches are common often among students who suffer from school or college-related stress. Exhaustion in general, Califos is the remedy. It comes as a homeopathic remedy per se, but it also comes in this biochemic homeopathic cell tissue salt form, which has a lower potency. And if you just have the cell or tissue salt, take 4 tablets morning, lunchtime, evening, 3 times a day for a while, for a few days. But if you have the actual homeopathic remedy, Califos 30, I would say 1 tablet every 2 to 3 hours till you get better. Now, I mentioned when you are having visual disturbances, not just with gelsemium, who also has visual disturbances, but really when the attack starts with this flickering fairy sparks before the eyes, with a dim vision, and the visual symptoms really precede the migraine attacks, very clearly referred as, what I said, the aura cyclamen. Cyclamen is our remedy. It's a plant. It's also useful where migraine headache starts on rising in the morning. Shooting pains is experienced usually in the temporal region. Vertigo is part of it. And really, you have clear visual disturbances. I would say cyclamen is a good one. So, of course, there are many more remedies here to cover, but I want to keep it simple and I don't want to confuse you. Otherwise, you get a headache. So if you require more help, don't be shy here. Contact me at health@medicanova.net or my practice Medica Nova at medicanova.net. Your migraine attacks do not need to bring you down on your knees, keep you shut in your darkened room, or see you hanging over the toilet. No. There is a solution and it works. So from Medica Nova Wellness Studio, the very best. Till next time, much love. Take care.